Ulysses Syndrome was the first project of Soundwalk Collective. It consisted in a 52-day journey on a sailboat all across the Mediterranean Sea and along the coasts of the countries that exist in the Mediterranean basin. And the journey was following, in a sort of loose way, the path of Ulysses back in the Odyssey, or what that journey was thought to be. We started from Naples and the Bay of Napoli, and then we sailed up the coast, and then we crossed over to cours, and then down to Sardinia. And then after Sardinia, I think there was the first moment where we stayed at sea the longest. And it was about 10 days without stopping at land. And it was strange because, of course, I mean, you get used to it and you're really in touch with the elements and you feel great. And then, but at some point you have something inside of you that tells you that, I mean, it's kind of strange that you see the land so far. There's some days or nights that you look around yourself, you don't see anything 360 degrees. So it's a new type of sort of experience, and loneliness or not. But still, there's a part of you that kind of wants to go back to the land and see what it's all about. And then the funny thing is that as soon as you get back to the port, everyone's excited. Let's step back into the island and see what's going on. And then 1 hour after, you kind of feel strange. I mean, that's what happened to all of us. We felt safer in the boat than on the island, you know, and that happened already maybe 3 weeks after the beginning of the trip. And it was enough for us to establish a parallel, you know, kind of existence and sort of sense for the first time maybe what Ulysses was referring to in his own journey. The journey is a sound journey, and the purpose of the journey was to sail again along the route of Ulysses in a different sequence, but touching all the same places where he has been, with the purpose of recording 24 hours a day sound. The way we recorded sound was via Hertzian frequencies, via radio scanning devices. We had 2 antennas on the beams of the boat, and we were scanning radio frequencies 24 hours a day. We had 4 different scanners. And the purpose was to try and collect as much sound possible that originated from the daily life on the coast. So on the coasts of all the Mediterranean basin. And we're mostly aiming for sounds of voices that maybe told their own story, maybe an intimate story, a contemporary story. And we saw it as a sort of, I mean, we like to describe it as a sort of sonic cartography of the Mediterranean Sea so many thousands of years after Ulysses. So it's a sort of modern fresco with sound, like a painting of sound of the geographical area. We always try to find a musicality that those sounds carry, even if they're not musical sounds in their source. And there always is, it just needs to be found. So you need to find the thread that puts them all together. And this allows us to create a piece. Once we understand where is the musicality behind each sound and how to pull it out, then suddenly the piece has found its form, its existence. Ulysses was originally a sound piece, a 24-hour sound piece. Then we made different versions of this project, and we decided to perform it live as a sort of live collage of all these sounds that were collected. The original performance was in New York, and it consisted in the performers. It was 4 of us at that moment, and we were playing live the sounds through 8 turntables. Later in time we used more 8, 9, 12 and 14 and so on, and the idea was to sort of, we have a record cutting machine at our studio in New York, and we would cut our own records for performance. So originally we had maybe 55 records. We split them up in terms of content between 3 or 4 of us, and we would sort of re-improvise this live collage, recreating what was the sort of scheme of the soundscape, of the sound piece that we composed.